So hello everyone and welcome to tonight's session of Ready for Pre-K. My name is Drew and I'm the manager of Birth to 5 programming here at DCPS. I'm so thrilled to be here with you this evening for this special session presented by the Healthy Futures program on the importance of social emotional learning. So before we get started, there are a few housekeeping items that I wanted to go over with the group. We are using Zoom to host tonight's session. And so throughout the session, we'll invite you to enter your questions and comments into the chat box anytime. You're also welcome to unmute and engage and ask questions if you feel comfortable. We love hearing your voices. Also, these sessions are recorded and posted on the DCPS YouTube page after this. So please double check your camera settings if you would not like to be on camera. And we are offering simultaneous interpretation in Spanish. So I'm going to pause for just a moment to allow anybody who wants to access that service. So we like to start all of our Ready for Pre-K sessions off with some general community agreements for our time together. We're committed to making sure that this is a forum where everyone feels safe and welcome and respected. So we just ask that you be kind, be patient, and be open. And with that, I would love to welcome our facilitators this evening. Tonight, we have joining us Briannica and Monique from the Healthy Futures program. So welcome, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Drew. And thank you, everyone, for welcoming us tonight. We're excited. Thank you. This is our first meeting with you all, so thank you for inviting us.
Absolutely. We're so excited to have you. And again, participants, please feel free to unmute at any time. The chat is open. We love to know who's joining us and enter questions. I'll keep an eye on the chat throughout the session so that if you have questions, I'll raise them up to the facilitators. Go ahead and stop sharing.
Okay. So I will share my screen. Perfect. Okay, so good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. And Briannica and I are from the Department of Behavioral Health, and we'll introduce ourselves in the next slide. But our presentation tonight is why does SEL matter for young children? And my name is Monique Douglas. I'm with the Department of Behavioral Health. I've been with the department for the past 13 years in different capacities, but I've been a supervisor with the Healthy Futures program for the past 5 years. And then back in 2010, when we started, I was a consultant myself for four years. 4 years. So I've been doing social emotional development for a while. And thank you for having me tonight.
Hello, everyone. My name is Briannica Scott. I am an early childhood clinical specialist, a consultant for the Department of Behavioral Health, Healthy Futures. I have been with the program, it'll be a year in January. I've always had an interest in early childhood mental health. I don't know if you all are familiar with a program called Jumpstart. I did that program for a number of years, and since then I've never left early childhood mental health. So thank you again for having us today.
So our learning objectives for tonight, we will define and discuss components of social and emotional learning in children from birth to 5. We also will discuss brain science and research that suggests that social and emotional skills such as empathy, impulse control, problem solving, and self-regulation aids in school readiness. And we will also review how caregivers can model and support children in social and emotional learning through everyday social interactions.
And so today we're going to first start off with what is social emotional development. So according to the Head Start Early Childhood Learning and Knowledge Center, also known as ECLIC, it defines social and emotional well-being as the developing capacity of a child to express and regulate emotions, form trusting relationships, and to explore and learn. I love this definition because it highlights the importance of, in a way, of our role as adults to support our children in the ability to begin to express their emotions, how to form relationships, and giving them the ability to explore the environment and learn around them as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Brianna.
You're welcome. And so why does social emotional development matter? Well, it matters because it sets the foundation for all other areas of development and learning in young children. And as to the right of your screen, you also see an image here. I love this visual. And this visual is, I actually came across this visual, it was a number of years ago. And I love this visual because, one, I'm a visual person, and two, it just highlights that how crucial the first 5 years of a child's life is. 90% of a child's brain is developed before the age of 5. And I remember finding this out. It was so mind-boggling to me because I thought brain development, I knew that babies' brains grew, right? But I never knew so much of that growth happened so early on. And only 10% of that happened after the age of 5. And it's through the number of synapses that are formed through everyday interactions that our children have with their teachers, with caregivers, with their loved ones. And it sets the foundation for them to begin to learn in school.
And I'm thinking about how children are sponges, how we always absorbing information, learning. They never stop learning. So I like that as well. The sponge caught my eye when I was thinking about it.
Yes.
One second, I'm pushing the button, but the slide is not moving. 1 second. Okay, there we go.
And so to piggyback off that, we're going to watch a TED Talk on how every child can thrive by 5. And then definitely want to hear your thoughts after this video. It goes a little bit into detail, a little bit about our interactions and the impact it has, as well as some of the brain science that we talked about a little bit already.
Okay. I'm just going to stop sharing 1 second just to turn the audio back on. I didn't hit that button.
Okay.
Shit. Do you see the video?
Not yet.
Not yet. This went to another screen.
Not yet. Yeah, might have opened in another tab.
It did.
Here we go.
Okay. And it has an ad on it, but we will get back.
Working very well.
It didn't come on the audio. Hold on, let me stop and do it again. Hold on. Just a little technical difficulties.
We've all been there, no worries.
Yeah, it says the sound is there.
I heard the video.
I could hear it, yes.
Oh, you could hear it?
It was fine, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wonderful. Sorry about that.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
What if I was to tell you that a game of peekaboo could change the world? Sounds impossible, right? Well, I'm here today to prove it's not. Hi, I'm Molly, and I'm 7, and this is my little friend Ari. Say hi, Ari. Hi! Oh, and this is my neighbor, Amajot. He has to take Ari away now to get ready for our experiment. But don't worry, they'll be back. My talk today is about some powerful things you grown-ups can do that shape us as children and the adults we become. How do I know? Because my parents and people around me did them, early and often. I know not all kids are as lucky. Some of my friends, some kids at my school, and many around the world. And I would really like to help change that. Thanks to scientists, we now know just how important the first 5 years are for our health and development, especially our brains. Ari started learning long before he was even born, from inside his mummy's tummy. When Ari was born, he was tiny, and he cried all the time. He was always hungry, and he pooped a lot. Now, he laughs and giggles and makes funny noises. But those are just the changes we hear and see. There's way more going on inside. So, let's talk more about our brains. The blue bag is the rough size and weight of a healthy baby's brain at birth. The red one is a baby's brain after the first year. It almost doubles in volume. And by my age, it's almost 90% the volume of an adult brain. Our brains develop faster in our early years than at any other time in our lives. It can create up to 1 million neural connections every second. But we need your help. Our healthy development depends on these top 5 things. 1, connecting. 2, talking. 3, playing. 4, a healthy home. 5, community. All of this helps our brains and does reach out. So what's something you can do that can really make a difference? Scientists call it serve and return. That's just a grown-up way of saying connect, talk, and play with us. And here's the really big news. Amajot, Ari, you ready?
Ready?
Copycat games build imagination and empathy.
And
Naming games build vocabulary and attention.
is it Daddy? Ari, Daddy, Ari.
And games like Peekaboo, yep, Peekaboo, actually build memory and trust. Each time you talk to us, play with us, make us laugh, it not only builds and strengthens our relationships and mental health, it actually teaches us some of the most important life skills. From making friends, to taking a test, to getting a job, to one day maybe even starting a family of our own. Interactions early and often matter. Take it from me, the 7-year-old up here, talking about brain science. Okay, now, let's see what happens when the connection is taken away. So now he's trying to get his dad's attention again. He's reaching out like, that was fun, why have you stopped? I know it's important for adults to use their devices sometimes, but kids are hardwired to seek out meaningful connections. Not receiving them causes confusion and stress. Okay, Amajot, please re-engage.
Sorry.
Now, what if a whole childhood was like that last 30 seconds? How hard it would be for a child to feel calm, to feel safe, to learn to trust anyone, and the lifelong impact that would have. That makes me feel sad. Ari only reacted the way he did and recovered so quickly because the connection between him and his dad is usually so strong. The positive relationships with the grown-ups in our lives gives kids the confidence we need. to try new things, to explore, and be a kid. So please try and remember, the most special period for our development is the first 5 years, starting from inside Mummy's tummy. What's something really impactful you can do? Serve and return. And when? Early and often. Please give it up for Amajot and Ari. Every moment together is an opportunity to connect, talk, and play. Imagine the difference we could make if everyone everywhere did this. To us, to children, it's so much more than just a game. It's our future. Thank you. See? Peekaboo really can change the world.
That was awesome, Brianna.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Let me come back to the slides.
I know I saw some hearts in the chat. Did anyone have any initial thoughts about that video or wanted to share anything?
Let me see any comments in the chat. Hearts.
I love to share that video because it's so powerful. Like she said, coming from a 6 or 7 year old, sharing the impact social emotional development has and the role that we have in that.
Yeah, and I love social and emotional learning and just development in itself. And that it's a new phenomenon since I've been doing this for 13 years. And even in grad school, I didn't recall going over social and emotional development and learning it a lot since we've been at DBH and learning the different nuances in brain development and how it's okay for a child to express themselves. And me growing up in the 70s, if we have anybody in the 70s, you did what your parents told you to do. You didn't express yourself. You didn't express your emotions. So children are very at an advantage now. We are in tune to them. We're able to hear them and listen and allow them to express themselves and articulate their feelings and help them with their feelings as well. So I love this concept now.
I agree. I know, I'm kind of like not too far behind you, but social emotional development, it was not something that was talked about. It was more so, you do as I say. You don't cry, you don't talk about happiness, you don't talk about feelings of angry, you don't talk about any of that at all. So I as I started with Jumpstart and did that program for a number of years and saw the impact that had in helping children get ready for school and emphasizing that social emotional development, saw the benefits of that, and then starting like, hey, like, is early childhood mental health a thing? Is this a thing? This is a thing. So yes, Monique, thank you for sharing that and bring that up, because it makes you think like it has progressed over the years.
Yes.
It has.
Yeah, I agree.
And with that being said, I know Molly, she talked a lot about, a little bit about school readiness and how it plays a part in social emotional development. And so we wanted to provide a little bit of research. There's a ton of research that support the benefits of social emotional learning in schools and the positive impact it has on test scores and things like that. So this is just one study that I found with the collaborative for academic, social, emotional learning. They found a significant role in supporting school-age children. The research showed that they saw a broader education benefit. So the study consisted of a group of children who participated in some social emotional learning groups. And those groups consisted of them participating in groups that encourage them to turn take, how to engage with one another, how to express their emotions, kindness, coping mechanisms to help with anxiety, anger. It was a group of children that participated in that. And also there were a group of children who didn't participate in it. And so they were able to measure the impact it had. So they saw enhanced pro-social behavior. So they saw an increase in kindness, sharing, empathy, of course, higher test scores, improve academic achievement. And they also observed that these children who participated in this group, the social emotional learning groups, they had lower levels of emotional distress, and they enjoyed coming to school. So I encourage you all to look at the research and look to see what it says about social emotional learning and how it improves outcomes for school-age children.
Cool. Thank you. So foundations of social and emotional, the foundations of social and emotional, it's based around trusting relationships. Building those trusted relationships at this age is important with our families, with parents, with teachers, with their peers, how we're trusting our caregivers. We know with us in the daycare centers, where our children and your children may be with child care providers for maybe 5 to 6, 7 hours a day. So they're with their providers a majority of the day. So we're building relationships, and those teachers and the directors are also building relationships with the children. So trust, when we see a caregiver, we know that the child knows. They begin to run to you. If they feel a little mistrust, they may have a little insecure attachment to their caregivers. There's different types of attachment. So we know at this age and at this stage, the trusting relationship is very important. How attuned are you with your children? When you're talking to babies and infants, are you looking at them in their eyes? Are you talking and cueing when a child talks to you? I always say, when I see a baby, oh my God, she's saying so much to me. He or she is talking, and it's okay to talk back. We would want you to talk back. So open communication within the next round, communicating how they feel, what the behaviors might look like, how they're feeling, what concerns they may have, to verbalize their needs and wants. And we know throughout the development from infancy through toddlerhood that children are expressing their needs in different ways. So be able to be in tune with what your child is saying. A cry might be different from when a child is upset, when they're hungry, when they need to change their diapers, and just being able to recognize the different ways that the child is communicating their needs. Knowing what clear expectations are when we're in school, because we're in daycare, but also when you're at home with your children, let them know what the routines are, what the routines of the day may look like. If we know we have to get up maybe at 6 o'clock in the morning, we have a schedule. Maybe you have a little drawings or pictures of what the day looks like for your child. And of course, when they're in the child development centers, we're helping them to show them what the expectations and what the routines are of the days and structure of the classroom. So when we move into structure and routine, all of these things are important pieces to a child's social and emotional development. Learning through play. A lot of people may say, oh, he or she is just playing when they go to school. Playing is important, because when we're playing, we can learn different things. If I'm in the block area, I know how I'm building structures, I'm using my imagination, my peers, we're sharing, we're interacting with each other, all those pro-social skills. So learning and problem solving and peer interaction is a big important place or part of the social emotional spectrum as well. Always an opportunity to learn and explore new skills. So when we're out and if we're in the garden, we're learning about science, we're learning about the seeds and how the trees grow. If we're taking a walk down the street, we're seeing different cars and pointing out different aspects of what we see in the community. And then we're always learning through modeling and personal experiences. So whatever a family traditions may be, you're putting in little gems so your children or your child will know what to expect and what is happening in their world. And through you're sharing your experience with the child as well. So throughout that circle, social and emotional development is always important, and the child is always learning and always growing. Just like Brianna said, that the first 5 years that our brain, the child's brain, is developing, and they're absorbing all this information. So in a nurturing and responsive relationship, what is trusting relationships make children feel secure? And evidence of trusting relationships include the eye contact and encourages children's autonomy, laughter, physical and verbal affection, proximity. I know sometimes when you see children, they get a little nervous, right? The child's like, where Miss Monique go? Because if she's attached to me in the classroom, then I'm leaving, and then she starts to cry, right? So proximity, how far or away is that person next to me? And then knowing that I'm here and they can feel secure. And they do that as well with parents. So we talk about the secure circle of attachment, how secure that child is when his or her parents may be away, if they come back. And when they come back, it's like, oh, mommy is here, and now I feel safe. So we look at all of those variables in reference to SE. And respectful language. What is the language saying when the child is with you, when they're in the classroom or when they're at home? What's that language look like as well? And responsiveness and warm and a calm voice. We always want to be in a place where we feel that a child is not threatened. The tone always makes a difference with children and even with adults. So we always try to make sure that when interacting with children, our tone is appropriate. We're not yelling, we're being soft, but you're being direct and telling them what you need the child to do, but just being mindful of how we say things with children. And from that, we'll move on to temperament. Temperament was a lot, but we have some links on the slides, and I know Drew will email this to you. But temperament, do you know your child's temperament? Is your child slow going? Are they distracted? Are they very hyper, very active? It's very important for you to understand what your child's temperament may be like and move forward, go with the flow. Right? Can we change a child's temperament? I don't know, it may change, but a child's temperament can be easygoing, and then it may change at a different level throughout that child's life. But just be okay with what their temperament level is. And it also talks about when you go to this website, it's from Georgetown University, and those are one of our partners that we work with. Georgetown indicated that the compatibility is, are you compatible to your child's temperament as well? So when we get to the last slide for temperament, just hit that button, and then it will give you a few assessments, and it'll give you a few more resources on temperament and things that you can read for later. Okay, and then and we talk about intensity, the regularity. Is that child sensitive? Is he or she approachable? What's that child mood? Are they able to adapt? And then these are some of the links that you can look at when we're at a later date, okay? Just to save some time. Okay.
Thanks,
Bree.
Monique. Temperament is important.
Yes, it is.
So now we're going to talk, we talked a little bit about this. So now we're going to talk about the parents' role in supporting children. I think a lot of times we talk about teachers' role, but as parents, we also have roles in the social emotional development of our children as well. So Monique, we talked a little bit about this, develop a routine that promotes child engagement, success, and follow it consistently. And even if, because sometimes life happens, right? Sometimes traffic may delay dinner, right? Or different things may happen within our day-to-day that may, our schedule may change. So letting children know, let children know, like, hey, you know, we have to go to the grocery store before we go home. Then we will eat dinner. So let them know, even if there's a change in the routine, let them know. Balance active and quiet activities, as well as limit screen time to engage with children. I know we're in a new age where iPads, phones, and television they can be helpful, right? But also planning out time to engage individually with your children, so they can begin to learn how to practice turn taking, sharing, how to engage in back and forth conversation. Because not only does that build their social emotional development, it gives them an opportunity to it gives them other opportunities to build those other areas like language and communication and things like that. Also provide transition activities or signals. And so I always share this example when I talk about transitions. A real good friend of mine, he is teaching his daughter, she's potty training. She's 2 years old. And so before they take her to the bathroom, they give her a couple reminders. And then I believe it's like 2 reminders, like 5, 2, and then they sing a potty song for her to go to the bathroom. So now, anytime anybody goes to the bathroom, what do you all think she's doing?
She's singing the potty
song. She's singing the potty songs. And it's because she knows that predictability builds safety, it builds connection. And so anytime anybody goes to the bathroom, you're about to go to the potty. It's time to go to the potty. So we sing the potty song when someone goes to the potty.
Associate as well.
So it's working. It's working. Also read books about friends playing together, helping each other. That builds not only social emotional development, but their literacy, their communication, and then practice. And I love this quote we have here to the right of the screen. A child life is like a piece of paper on which every person leaves a mark. And I always ask the question, like, what impact do you want to have? Do you want to have a positive or a negative impact on the child? Like, what impact do you want to have? And I know for me, like, I'm always like wanting to be positive and initiate that connection, and build their capacity to be functioning adults, regulated adults.
Yeah. And I think Healthy Futures, just to piggyback, we've made a great impact on their lives, and just to see growth and teaching teachers and children what we know and how we use different tools to help them to express themselves and to regulate themselves, because that's going to move on to the next topic. I know parents have a lot of concerns on behaviors, right? So that's a big one. So we'll look at what challenging behaviors can look like. So forms of challenging behaviors, when we look at aggression, maybe hitting, scratching, kicking, biting, throwing things, or threatening someone. We all see tantrums in the form of screaming, crying, whining, cussing. And then children do cuss, right? And I've even seen head banging. It can be that to that level as well. Non-compliance, refuses to respond to a request, passive when a request is made. And then the social withdrawals, primarily plays alone, primarily plays alone and doesn't respond to peers and attempts to play. And self-injury, repetitive behaviors, scratching oneself, hitting, biting, rocking back and forth, or doing those spinning type of nuances. Would anybody want to come off their monitor, off the mute, and you think you have anything else you see when you're with your children or in the classroom that relates to behaviors? What other behaviors do you see? Anybody wants to come off? No? Okay, so I guess we're all in agreement that these may be the major behaviors that we see. Okay. So when we define behaviors, we want to narrow things down. What might be happening? What happened before? We call it the ABC of behaviors, right? So when we look at the A is the antecedent. What happened? Brianna, why are you crying? What happened? It's just like, he didn't give me my toy. He's not sharing. So you wanted a toy and then you hit him. You hit your friend, right? And then the behavior is you hitting him. So concrete on what you can observe and can you measure it? And then we want to look at defining behaviors, use specific words to describe the behavior. So if you wanted something, the antecedent was you wanted the toy, then you hit him, and then the consequences, what happened after that. So we always want to look at what is happening, because it can happen within a second, right? It can happen so fast, and you'll see that your child is upset or something is happening, but we want to figure out what the problem is, and we want them to also articulate the concerns as well, if they're able to, okay? Excuse me.
And so after we do that, we definitely want to begin to measure the behavior, right? So Monique went into the ABC data. We want to also see how is it happening consistently? Like, is it happening around nap time? Is it happening around drop off, when you drop your child off? Is it happening during a specific time of day? And so that we can begin to prepare and even begin to put in strategies in place to support that child in the classroom or at home. So now we're going to talk, so we talked a little bit about behavior. We talked a little bit about how we define it, how we measure it, what to look for. And so I know you're like, okay, so what do we do, right? So we talked about like building relationships. That is the core and the foundation of social emotional development and school readiness. But these are some also problem solving techniques that can help as well. So breathing, I always encourage, I know some people like breathing is dumb. Well, breathing, you will always have your breath, right? I always say you always have your breath. You may not always have your fidget. You may not always have books, but you always have your breath. So teaching children how to stop and breathe is extremely helpful. And then one of the bottom photo, you see the star, the balloon, the pretzel, the drain. Those are helpful breathing techniques that we use in the classroom as we go to different programs. Also, we use cognitive distractions, and cognitive distractions are just simply like counting, right? If we know a child is escalated, I have said, oh, I see this truck. Can you count how many trucks you see? 1, 2, or what color do you see? Look at your shirt. What color shirt do you have on? And that's a helpful technique to help with calming. A cozy corner, a calm down area. And this is something you all can definitely put inside your home. So identify a space in your home that a child can go when they're feeling angry or sad, to implement some of the breathing and cognitive distractions, a space for them to breathe and identify, you know, how they feel. And or it could be an opportunity. It could also be a place where you also are like, hey, when you're feeling sad or mad, then you know, and you can go, that's the space that you all go to. So to begin to implement these strategies. Also positive discipline techniques. So we also use conscious discipline, which is a social emotional approach. I love Becky Bailey. She talks a lot about social emotional development, and it's a approach, not a curriculum, but approach, because it shifts your way of thinking. And we also use Flip It. So Flip It stands for so identifying feelings to help the child understand what they're feeling, communicating limits, the inquiry, like once the feelings and limits have been addressed, asking questions to help the child think about a solution. And of course, with some of our younger friends, we would, you know, give them prompts, give them options. Hey, do you think that maybe we could build the blocks back up, or should we take it down? Supporting them in that. And then problem solving cards. I've supported teachers and families in having for specific kiddos, and even for a classroom or even for your child, having cards available with different options for them, with visuals for kids, because some of my kiddos and even me love visuals to see their options, because sometimes the processing may be delayed, and or visuals just work. So those are just some examples of some problem solving strategies that we can use to support social emotional learning development.
And I will also say it supports the adults as well, right?
Yes, it does. It does.
Because sometimes we need to breathe.
Yes, we need to breathe.
And we need to calm down for a moment, and we need to take a step back and process what's happening and figuring out what the child is doing, what's the behavior, and why he or she is responding the way they are. So we have to take a step back and look at ourselves too.
You're right.
Yep. And then we have this great slide.
And also emotional literacy. So reading books on how to talk about emotions, how to validate children's emotions, allow children time to express their unpleasant emotions. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, Monique, how like we didn't necessarily have that space to talk about our emotions, and giving children that space to talk about how they feel is extremely powerful. And then that also, again, builds safety, connection. It allows them to feel confident. And even today, like today, I had a kiddo, he was crying, and the teacher said, you were mad because the sticker or something fell off. He said, no, I was sad. He corrected her and said, I was sad, and began to talk about like how he was feeling. And she gave him that space. She gave him that space to talk about how he was feeling. And he was elevated. He was pretty passionate about what he was saying, but I love how the teacher, she didn't interject.
Yep, didn't dismiss it.
Yeah, she didn't dismiss it. She didn't say, you're yelling. You need to stop yelling. She didn't say any of that. She gave him that space to talk about what happened. And they were able to talk about what happened and talk about coping mechanisms and encourage him to breathe. And so because he got that space and said what he had to say, he went to go play. So emotional literacy and just giving children that space to talk about how they feel is crucial.
And I think we still have a little time. So our final thoughts. Challenging behavior is a natural stage of development and often appears at home and early childhood education settings. Often challenging behaviors can be minimized and or eliminated using universal strategies, prevention, and early intervention strategies. And I think we gave a mixture, a good resource for you on some strategies that we use when we're in the child development centers. And perception is everything. How we choose to view challenging behaviors will determine the effectiveness and outcomes of strategies implemented. And I will always say, it didn't happen overnight. And when we want to change a behavior, it's going to take some time. And we want to keep reinforcing, keep being consistent, and keep using those tools that you find effective in your household. And we provide those tools to the teachers in the classroom as well. So we want to be repetitive. You want to keep repeating those routines and all of those social skills that you've taught your children or your child. The behavior, it'll change. It'll come to it. It'll have a plateau. Keep the process, work the process, we say, and we know it's confident that the behavior will change. And our next slide is some resources. We use CCEFL. CCEFL has tons of resources on their website for teachers as well as parents. So we welcome you and encourage you to go on CCEFL. They have a lot of scripted stories as well on problem solving as well. So it's a great tool. Always 0 to 3. And always, Brianna, you like Sesame Street.
I love Sesame Street. Sesame Street has everything. They even have videos, like just recently, Grief and Loss. They have a video, like they have a segment from their television, from their show, addressing social emotional development, grief and loss, violence in the community, and they give you language and articles and things like that that you can utilize in the classroom, at home. Sesame Street is my go-to.
Nice. And this is our last slide before we have questions and answers. This is our survey. So if you can take a picture of this QR code and it'll populate a survey question on how you felt that our interactions and engagement and presentation with you was on tonight. So we'd appreciate your feedback as well. So I'll keep it up a few minutes, but Drew will also send it out to you all. And then if you don't have an opportunity to do the survey tonight, you'll have the survey from Drew. Okay.
Absolutely.
so-
Thank you
Thank you
so
so much,
much.